Welcome to Civil Discourse. I am your host, Wesley, along with my co-host, Steve. We're going to give you today's political news from both sides of the political spectrum. I'm definitely going to start this off with the one big beautiful bill, as Trump calls it. I like to call it the one big ugly zero for America, because we're going to lose a lot of people from Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP benefits down the line. I mean, people are going to lose housing, but I'm sure Steve will have a different point of view that makes sense to him and his political spectrum. We're going to be honest about this one, guys. It's not good for America. Here's what's in Trump's big, beautiful bill passed by Congress. The White House passed a massive spending and tax bill that includes signature policies of President Donald Trump's second-term agenda Thursday, sending the so-called big, beautiful bill to the president's desk ahead of the July 4th deadline. Mr. Trump signed the bill into law on Friday afternoon. The House approved the bill in a 218 to 214 vote Thursday, after the Senate narrowly approved the bill Tuesday in a 51 to 50 vote that required Vice President JD Vance to break the tie. At the center, the big, beautiful bill is an extension of Mr. Trump's 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which was slated to sunset at the end of the year. The legislation would make most of the tax cuts permanent, while increasing spending for border security, defense, and energy production. The bill is particularly paid for by significant cuts to healthcare and nutrition programs like Medicaid and the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. That Congressional Budget Office estimates the bill would add $3.4 trillion to the federal deficit over the next 10 years and leave millions without health insurance. Republicans and White House dispute those forecasts. Senate Republicans use a process known as budget reconciliation to pass the bill, which limits the types of policies that can be included in a simple majority vote. A handful of provisions that initially appear in the bill were ultimately removed, including the one that would have ordered the sale of public lands, and another that would have paused state regulations on artificial intelligence. The House passed its own version of the bill of the legislation last month, with some key differences to the final Senate crafted version. The lower chamber approved the Senate's changes Thursday and sending the measure to the president's desk. So, Steve, I'm sure this bill right here is a great thing, great victory for Trump. I'm sure you're going to count this as his first bill that he's gotten passed in this term. It's a huge, massive spending bill. Great thing for the Republicans. They're known for this. What do you think about this bill?
Well, I mean, every president gets an agenda, right? They have to get their agenda passed through Congress, just like Biden did. Biden spent a lot of money too, but it's every president's prerogative to create an agenda, to create packages that he needs to get through, that he had campaign promises for. So, I mean, it's no different than any other administration.
So his agenda is to hurt the middle class and the poorer classes of America. Basically, the whole, probably 70-80% of America. He's looking to cripple with these type of bills.
Hurting the middle and lower class when you're trying to make things a lot more, accessible.
What's that? What's accessible? What do you making it more accessible? What did he make more accessible here?
You're going to make it more accessible by taking illegal immigrants off the rolls.
You know that illegal immigrants did not qualify for a lot of these government programs. That's wasn't
Medicaid.
True.
Medicaid, yes, they do. Medicaid, yes, they do.
I'm not gonna. I'm not
that as well as I do.
I know that a lot of illegal immigrants do not qualify for government programs. A lot of them don't even have social security numbers. But tell me which government programs do they qualify for? I think that you guys have used Medicaid, that as a marker.
No. Medicaid is a federally funded, but also state funded. They share the responsibility. So guess what? States California makes it allowable for illegals to be on the rolls for Medicaid. And that shouldn't happen. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. I don't see how you agree with that. I mean, I'm not going to say, you know what? I'm not going to say that I agree with something, but at the same time though, because of course are not generally eligible. So undocumented immigrants are not generally eligible for federal Medicaid coverage. Federal rules restrict eligibility to U.S. citizens and certain lawfully present immigrants who meet. They're eligible to get
emergency Medicaid. emergency Medicaid.
No, I'm not talking.
So no, we're not. I mean, but we have to talk. We have to talk factually, though. I don't want to just say what the talking points are, but there's a lot of talking points that's been saying that these people have been getting this and getting that, and that's what this is about. But it's saying right here, 11.8 million Americans are going to lose their coverage over the next 10 years. 11.8 million Americans. These are people who are American citizens. We're about to lose their coverages. People who are older who need these coverages. They're talking about taking people off rolls. If you're 64 and under and you're able-bodied, what does that mean, able-bodied? We all know, because I mean, I've seen programs where they're like, hey, we're going to put you in the military. The person says, this and that hurts on me. Too bad you're going anyways. That's how they look at certain things. I'm not saying today's military as much as it was yesterday's military, but now that they can push you off government rolls, now we're in a very different time frame we're in a very different time frame that we've ever been in before. I don't mean to overtalk you. Go ahead.
Listen, able-bodied means you can get your ass out there and get a job. Period.
Stop sitting at home. Who is the person who's going to qualify who is able-bodied and who's not? Who's to say you're not going to get a doctor in a rural town that's a racist doctor? We know this exists. One more time.
States. The states have that control.
We already look at the states. We see the states already. The states who are going to do this the most to their own people, the ones who are on this the most. The red states, they're going to do it. Who do you think they're going to do it to? This is going to become
okay. So
I get to dictate.
I'll read some facts. Okay, read some facts.
Tell me some facts.
4.8 million of those estimated to be without health insurance in 2034 are able-bodied adults without dependents who choose to not meet modest work or community engagement requirements.
Where do you get this from?
This is from the office, the Congressional Budget Office.
This is what the Republicans have put out, that this is the people who are going to be off. This is people who are looking to get off.
Congressional Budget Office does not have any.
It's supposed to be bipartisan. It doesn't mean their numbers are not coming from somewhere. I mean, sometimes they get numbers presented to them. Who's presenting?
So you're saying
I'm not saying that it's wrong.
Reading off are wrong.
I know. I'm asking. There's got to be context behind all facts. I need to know what the context of the facts are. That's what I'm asking.
This is from the Big Beautiful Bill.
Keep going.
And these are the facts from the Big Beautiful Bill.
Keep going. You're saying they said 4.8 million able-bodied.
Yes, 4. This is by 2034.
Mm-hmm.
2034. So you got to remember, this is within the next
who are getting medical coverage. This isn't monetary. They're not getting any money, right? They're just getting medical coverage so they can actually go to see a doctor.
And not only that, hold on.
Correct?
Not only that, but how much do you think this bill has added to Medicaid?
Do you know that? I mean, how much has it added? How much is the bill added?
It's a 31.2% increase. That's $204.6 billion added.
Okay, Medicaid. But they're taking away.
No, what are they taking away?
They're taking away over $1 trillion. They're taking away over $1 trillion. Yeah, they're taking away over $1 trillion. And
how are they taking away? Where's your statistic that says they're taking over $1 trillion?
It's been said more than one time.
These are over
$1 trillion cuts.
Wait,
keep reading. Keep reading. It should be right there in the Congressional Budget Office. It says that. So if you're taking 11 point something million people off the rolls, they had to take their cuts from somewhere. Republicans did. So what they said was, we're going to cut this many people off of Medicaid, Medicare to make this bill even pass. That's what reconciliation is. It has to be a debt. It has to be a neutral. It cannot add to it's supposed to not be able to add to the deficit. That's what it's supposed to not be able to do. That's why when you can go through reconciliation, but they can fudge the numbers and say, oh,
but obviously it went through reconciliation. They had to take stuff off of it so it could go through reconciliation.
And the CBO said one other thing. CBO said something totally different, that it's going to add this many trillions to the debt. Republicans came out, said it's going to add trillions to the debt. Everybody else said the spending cuts will offset it. This is what happens every time they do reconciliation for everybody. It's not just Republicans. It's across the board.
Here's another fact. You ready? The American Enterprise Institute found that of the able-bodied Medicaid recipients without dependents, those not working spend as much time playing video games and watching TV as those who do spend on work. 4.2 hours per day. That's 125 hours per month, over 50% higher than the 80 hours of community engagement the Office of Budget requires, or the OBBBA, whatever that is. The Office of Budget and something else.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is, you have a lot of people sitting out there sponging off the American people.
So we're saying, okay, so let me ask this question too. We need to also figure out, you said 20-year-olds, right? You said about 20-year-olds.
Oh,
Most of them aren't even going to see doctors unless they're women. A lot of women go see doctors a lot more than men do. We all know that to be true. That's a fact. Young people are not going to the doctor nearly as much as older people. So those are not the people who are sitting here sponging off of the American people because they're not even going to see a doctor, even though they're on.
Doesn't matter. They're still getting Medicaid benefits, Wesley.
What benefits are they getting? If I'm not using a benefit,
Medicaid recipients.
If I am not using, I don't have a problem with. I believe in universal health care, so I don't have a problem with people receiving medical benefits in a country where we have. Why not? Why should
you getting Medicaid if you're able-bodied? Why
should we not have full free Medicare medical for all? Why should we not? In a country as wealthy as we are, even if we're in debt, we're still a very wealthy
I'll be
nation.
quite honest with
Why
you.
should we not?
I would never, ever, ever. You know how bad government is about money. They're terrible. Both sides of the house are terrible at it. There's no way in hell I would want the government knowing my medical history. Period. End of story.
At the end of the day, you have pharmaceutical companies knowing your medical history. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Who really cares? To me personally, I feel like this. I think that if we had a smarter, more government that really works for us, they can make better prices for our surgeries, for medicine, for everything across the board, and make it streamline it and make it better if we really were to fight for that. But we don't. We sit back here and we pay bills.
This exists. This exists. The problem.
So what kind of outcomes are we getting right now?
Well, you got Big Pharma getting in the way of stuff like that. There's no way Big Pharma is going to allow that to happen.
And it'll never
happen.
We pay twice as much. We pay twice as much in healthcare costs than the next closest country. Twice as much. We pay way more for medicines than other countries pay. You know what I mean? And so you're okay with that? You're like, hey,
I'm not okay with that.
So you're mad at the kid who's sitting here not taking a dime. He's playing video games. He's not taking a dime off Medicaid.
No.
You're mad at him.
That's the problem. That's what you don't understand, Wesley. They are getting Medicaid benefits.
What are they getting?
These are able-bodied Medicaid recipients.
Okay, but what are they getting?
That means receiving money. Doesn't matter what they receive. They're receiving something, right?
So you're saying, okay, Medicaid
that's where the recipient is. They get it.
Let's go back to so you're saying they're getting money in order to sit around, like some type of a benefit from being on some type of a disability, correct? That's what you're saying?
Say again.
Are you saying this is for a disability program? They're saying they're disabled?
No, they're getting money. Able-bodied Medicaid.
No, what I'm saying, I hear what you're saying. So you're saying that these kids who are receiving this are claiming disabilities of some sort, and so they're receiving cash benefits
of some sort. Yes.
So they're receiving cash benefits, correct?
And that's the part where the waste and fraud and abuse comes in.
I like to see what they're, because right now I think these are just numbers that are being thrown out there. We don't know what these people may or may not have is going on with them at all. We don't know. Right now we're just spewing numbers.
This is coming from a place called the American Enterprise Institute. I have no idea what they are.
The American Enterprise Institute. You know what that sounds like to me? No, that sounds like to me
a right-leaning, like some kind of left-leaning thing.
It sounds like a right-leaning thing that says, "Oh, they're spending more times playing video games." Now you're just going to believe it. So all your numbers just came from that. Your 4.8 number just came from that, and all the rest of your numbers just came from this American Institute. And that's not even. So anyone could say, "I could be like this." You know what people are doing?
This is a Congressional Budget Office. I mean, I don't know. You know I don't know what other facts you want to look at. This is coming from the people that
the American
do this work,
Heritage Foundation or whatever it is.
American Enterprise Institute. Anyway, Medicaid. All right, so they want able-bodied people to get 20 hours of work in per week, right? Mm-hmm. So accept or community engagement or whatever else that they can do to apply. But pregnant women, minors, seniors, foster youth under 26, tribal members, medically frail. Those meeting SNAP work requirements, caregivers are currently and recently incarcerated don't fall under that category of having to get work requirements or community engagement. So that's a lot of people being left out of that requirement. I don't understand why you're so upset with having somebody work 20 hours a week.
I'm not
give back to the community in some way in order to get benefits.
Me personally,
I don't get it.
me personally, I'm not upset with people having to work or whatever the case may be, but obviously there was already a reason why
But
they
you're
were
sitting
not
there
working.
complaining about
They
it.
were there was already a reason why they were not working and receiving the benefits they were receiving. To me, I'm against cutting. I mean, I'm against government coming in and saying, you know what, the people don't deserve, but businesses do, wealthy do. That's what I'm against. I'm against them saying, you know what, we're going to put this tax burden on you guys' back to pay off
The
for
wealthy
generations
aren't on
of your.
Medicaid. Right?
What I'm saying, I'm not talking about Medicaid. That program is not meant for the wealthy, correct? That's
yes,
the program.
right.
So that's mean that they're coming in taking money from the masses to give to the wealthy.
What money are
they're
they
transferring
taking?
that? They're transferring
They're
that
adding
money from
31.
here.
They're adding more than 31% to the budget for Medicaid.
This is what I'm gonna say. So they've cut over $1 trillion.
Where do you see a cut of $1 trillion?
All right, we're gonna keep going.
They added 31.2%.
I don't want to stop the conversation. You know what I mean? Just okay. I don't want to stop the conversation, but just keep going with the conversation.
All right. Well, what I'm saying is now, like I said, this is 9 years from now, so there may be attrition to that Medicaid number to begin with. People will die off, people will get off Medicaid, so you might see a drastic reduction in that amount of people that need it by 2034 just for that. So the rolls will hopefully by 2034 somewhat balance itself out, right? So you see a lot of was it 1.4 million of the estimated without health insurance in 2034 are illegal immigrants that they'll be coming off the rolls. So in that time frame, you have 9 years to maybe get citizenship, do the right thing, get a job, get health insurance. So even that number may drop. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going to happen in the next 9 years.
I think you guys have basically come out and put a lot of people who are on this, like, oh, most of these people who are on these programs are people who are legally here, or people who can actually work and they're not working. This is what you guys allowed for the cuts they've come into. They've sliced, and I know that right now I'm looking for the actual cuts that they made to Medicare as far as a number is concerned. I know it's here, but they've cut trillions in Medicaid, Medicare. It's always in the bill before I have to just find the actual numbers to be able to back it up. But I'm telling you right now, I know for sure. Just like they cut hundreds of billions of dollars out of the SNAP program. You know what I mean? They use those programs to cut in order to be able to even have the conversation that they're having right now to take it through reconciliation. They had to cut from somewhere. They cut Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP, and other benefits for the people. That's where the money came from before they could say, hey, you know what? We're actually, because if they were to increase it, then they wouldn't have been able to pass the bill. They might have been able to say, we're going to increase spending in these certain areas for this, but we're cutting this. We're cutting this amount out.
But wait, again, the issue with, okay, let's go back to SNAP. SNAP is going to start requiring work requirements as well. So once people start getting jobs on top of that, they're going to lose those benefits anyway.
Medicaid is being cut by nearly $1 trillion. That's just Medicaid. You know what I mean? That's just, you know what I mean? There's a number of other cuts.
I don't see where that's at.
I just read this. I just read this in a USA Today article that says Trump signs mega bill that slashes taxes, Medicaid, while boosting national debt.
USA Today isn't left leaning.
We can go into anyone and look and see whoever else said it. Everyone is telling you Republicans just cut Medicaid. Will it cost them control of their house? We can go back and look who was it? What's his name again? Rand Paul told you this. Ron Johnson told you this. These are all Republicans who voted. I mean, I don't know if Ron Johnson voted.
Ron Paul did vote against it.
Okay, but he came out and said it too. All those Republicans said the same exact thing. They're cutting Medicaid, Medicare. Everyone saying the same thing. This is not
cutting it. It's not a cut. Goodness. It's adding requirements to be able to get it.
Okay. No, I mean it's not. I mean, okay. This is what
that's
I'm
not
saying.
The same thing as cutting.
Yo, they're definitely cutting money out of the program. They're doing that. You know what I mean? They're definitely cutting money out of the program. They cut $1 trillion. That's not to say, oh, we're going to add a requirement, so it's going to cut this money out of it. No, that's another thing that's going to help cut even further, even more people out of it, is by adding further requirements that you have to jump through more hurdles in order to be able to get it. That's just another way of cutting more money out of it. But you're definitely taking a number out and cutting. I've already said over $1 trillion, about $1 trillion just from Medicaid. That's not including Medicare. That's not including SNAP benefits. They had to cut this much out of this budget right here because they thought that Doge was going to come in and find a bunch of ways for Bruce that never even happened. So this is just facts. If you're not, to me, you're not, I don't feel like a person's on the home team if they don't want to help the American people more. They want to give a $4.5 trillion tax cut to billionaires. That doesn't make sense to me. Millionaires and billionaires. I'm not mad at them for being wealthy, but I'm not giving you money so in order for it to put it on our backs later and watch and